Hello and welcome to the Quantum Gateway. I'm your host Architect, and today we have coverage from last weekend's Trainer Newbie tournament. The tournament was hosted by Gently and the Egg Roll and was a different format from usual, where we have the trainers present in the matches. Let's go ahead and take a look at the format. It's a 1 versus 1 head-to-head battle of the trainees with their trainers assisting. The trainees are less than 1300 global or ladder rating. The trainers are in the game and observing every action of their trainees. It's a Swiss system of points-based tournament play. And we have one final match in this tournament where the winner takes all the glory. Now that we know what we're in for, let's introduce our finalists, Phelim and Maya Damage in a Cybran matchup on Crimson Feud. But before we head on over to the battle arena, let's see how these guys got to the final. In round 1 on Theta Passage 5, Maya Damage and his trainer Jagged Appliance went head to head with Stups and his trainer Blodir, and came out worse for wear. After trading blows with T1 armies, Stups came out on top, catching Maya Damage's ACU away from his units, surrounding him for the kill. Phelim and his trainer Calvarox took on Maple Loops and his trainer Brutal Moustache. Maple Loops got early bombers out to harass Phelim's engineers, but Phelim got units around the back of Maple Loops' base and took out his power gens. Maple Loop threw everything he had left at Phelim's ACU in a desperate attempt to fight back, but didn't have enough left in the tank to take him out. Phelim's units mop up the last of Maple Loop's base, and he takes the win. In round 2 on Open Palms, Phelim harassed Stups' engineers with early bombers and got an eco advantage, allowing him to switch up to T2. Stups makes a critical mistake and pushes his ACU too far, and Phelim catches it out in the open. Phelim's T1 and T2 armies surround Stups, and before he can get reinforcements to his ACU, they take him out. Maya Damage took on Scoot, and they tried to hit each other with early T1 bombers, but a nice dodge from Maya Damage saves his expanding engineer. Maya Damage won the air game and got ahead on land production, allowing him to outproduce Scoot, forcing Scoot out of the game. Round 3 saw our finalists face off against each other on Bermuda Locket. A sneaky Engie drop from Phelim managed to cut off land access to Maya Damage's expansion. The drop almost fails when he lost his engineers, but they got a factory out before they were taken out. What started as a T1 raid on Maya Damage's right expansion turned into a full-scale T1 land war on the narrow ledge of the Locket. The Navy game is late while they focus on the land battle, and Phelim builds subs to defend against the frigates of Maya Damage. The land battle on the right side of the Locket ends in a stalemate, while Phelim's T1 subs prove ineffective against Maya Damage's Navy. Maya Damage breaks through on the left of the Locket with rhinos, giving Maya Damage the victory. In round 4 we saw Maya Damage take out Maple Loops. Maple Loops gets the first bomber out and denies the expansion for Maya Damage, but Maya Damage captures the centre and manages to raid with Mantis. Maya Damage gets T2 into the fight first and pushes through to clear out Maple Loops' north expansion. Maple Loops can't push back against the superior T2 firepower and bows out of the game. Phelim went up against Violet Ania and her trainer Speed 2 on Standing Stones and secured another victory. Violet took the early advantage by capturing the centre of the map, but Phelim raided mexes and power to even the odds. Phelim switches up to T2 and masters forces against the centre to push Violet Ania back. After overwhelming the centre, Phelim moves directly for Violet Ania's starting base, and with nothing to counter the assault, Violet Ania is defeated at 14 minutes. In round 5, Maya Damage had a bye while Phelim took on Ladcoma and his trainer Takedo. Phelim raids Ladcoma's expansions to gain an eco advantage, while Ladcoma struggles to inflict the same sort of damage. Phelim uses expansion on the far side of the river to push north towards Ladcoma's starting position. Ladcoma loses most of his power and struggles to block the assault. Phelim follows up with a swarm of gunships to take out the remainder of Ladcoma's base and units, leaving Ladcoma's ACU hiding in the river. With nothing left but his ACU, hunted by torpedo bombers and gunships, Ladcoma could do nothing but accept his fate and hand the win to Phelim. We can see here the final point standing after the rounds. Normally the tournament would be over after the rounds, but Mad Damage and Phelim are tied on 4 points each, so we've got a final matchup coming up to decide the winner. So fasten your seatbelts and get ready to head over to the battle zone and see which one of these guys is going to take out the tournament. Here we are in the game zone. So let's get ready to see how these guys are going to get on. Alright, now we are going to see a couple of ACU explosions right at the outset. Now this is not the game ending, this is the trainers' ACUs going up in fiery death. Now, the way this tournament is running with the trainers watching the trainees, the best way they can do that is to start out in the team with their trainee and then Control K their ACU. This way they keep the map vision on what the trainee can see and they don't have to enable observers or cheating. So this is the best way to do it. We're going to see a couple of booms and let's get this game underway. Boom, baby. That's for you, Kyle. Alright, let's go and have a look at those initial build orders. So we've got Phelim in the top right. He's chucking down a land factory first, and then by the looks of it, he's going a 4 mechs build. So no PGens in the queue there. That probably means that he is going to go for a hydro first. So we're going to see a first engineer out of that factory and he's going to get a hydro down. Let's go and have a look at what Mad Damage is doing. And he's doing something awfully similar, but he's only going for 3 mass extractors at the outset. We can see the rally point out to the left of the factory there, so that means he's going to get an engineer out to the left and that's going to be able to build a hydro straight away. Let's see how long it takes him to get that construction underway. There we go, and there was a little bit of a delay there, but pretty good, especially because these guys are newbies. Well, I mean, they're 1200 and 1100 ranked, so I wouldn't really call them newbies. They're pretty average. Yeah, I'm not going to call them newbies anymore. Trainees. That's it, because we've got pros here. We're not going to insult them by just changing the definition of newbie, but we're just going to call these guys trainees. Now, we do have a couple of attack units. Well, we've got a hunter and a scout out for Phelim, so that's going to be a bit of early raiding. So we can see that they're heading out across the map and they're going to try and pick off some expanding engineers and do a little bit of damage. Now those are awfully early out of the factory, so that was second and third out of the factory after that first engineer. So he's going to have to make sure he gets something in that counts with those raiding units, otherwise he's wasted the mass and the time that he's delayed his engineers in doing that. So he's headed down the bottom, he's going to get in there as fast as he can and do something with it. We've got an engineer coming out here. Now he's going to go straight for the top expansion here. So we can see by holding control shift there's a little bit of reclaim. Well, actually quite a lot of reclaim. There's 800 or 900 mass there, and given that the players are only on 9 or 11 mass per tick at the moment, 900 reclaim is quite a lot to bite into, so they want to get out there and get that as soon as possible. So Mad Damage has done a really good job with that. His engineer is, well, 3/4 of the way to that expansion, whereas Phelim has stopped to build a mechs here and his engineers still only halfway. So there's quite a bit of time advantage there for Mad Damage to grab that reclaim and get it into his coffers before Phelim has an opportunity to do the same. We've got the little raiding party in here, but we've got a really nice reclaim order going out from that engineer. So the engineer has taken out the hunter and then the scout. He is left on 33 hit points, so he was able to deny that raid but also take that mass off Phelim. So that's a little bit of a psychological warfare, saying, you can't raid my stuff, I'm going to take it from you. We can see Phelim is going down to secure the location. He's sending 2 Mantis and a couple of scouts, so he's going to make sure he's got radar coverage and enough Mantis to deny any little raids onto this engineer. So we can see the engineer is going to have some reclaim orders and he's going out for that mass in the same way as Mad Damage has already grabbed up the top. We do have a Mantis and a scout coming in and they're going to be trying to block any engineer. Now the engineer is a little bit isolated there. The Mantis are responding. Is Mad Damage going to see the engineer? Well, the engineer is actually moving within range of the Mantis. Fortunately, Phelim's forces are able to take that Mantis out and stop that raid from being successful. We do have already 1 mechs going up for major damage And, well, what is that engineer doing? It looks like he thought that scout was a bomber, and he tried to dodge it. We do have an actual bomber here in the centre, but that's an awfully large dodge. We'll see how long it takes him to remember he's done that and get that engineer back on track and building those mexes. And there it goes now, he's back on the build queue. So this little bomber here is trying to take out that radar in the centre. He probably thought that was an engineer. Unfortunately, some bad turns by the interceptor for Phelim meant that his bomber gets taken out by this interceptor from Mad Damage. Couple of pings going out here from the trainer, probably saying make sure you get those mexes built and get any reclaim there as well. So there's 3 mexes in the middle, which Maya Damage has not claimed yet. Phelim, on the other hand, has got one out, and he's actually taken that, and he's doing an attack move to get some of that reclaim and get that into his coffers. He has finished reclaiming down in the bottom right corner here, and his engineer is now building a point defense to help secure that location. A nice little raid in the top left here from Phelim is going to take out the engineer for Mad Damage and take out those 2 mexes as well. So that's going to give a little bit of an eco advantage to Phelim because those mexes are gone while Phelim does have this expansion intact. We might see a raiding party. Well, there is actually a little raid going on down here from Phelim. He was able to get a couple of Mantis in. He was taking out 1 mass extractor, did a bit of damage to another mix and damage to the hydro. If he had focused fire, it seems like he probably could have got a little bit more damage in there, maybe even take the hydro out, which would be a big deal at this point because Maya Damage is only on 360 power, and a hydro being 100 power means that that 100 is, well, almost a third of his entire power income, and that could probably send him into a mass stall. Maya Damage still hasn't been able to retake this expansion up the top. Phelim is guarding it with a half a dozen Mantis, but Maya Damage is massing a group which he's going to use to take out. Now, when you're going to attack a little group like that, you've got to make sure you're going to win. If you're going to send mass in, well, units in, which is mass, if you're going to send that in and you're going to lose, then that was completely pointless. All you've done is hand that mass to the other team. But if you have got engineers, you make sure you get the enough units in to win the battle, then you're going to come out on top with map control, and you're going to get the mass from reclaiming with those engineers. So it looks like Mad Damage is going to push Phelim out from that expansion, and he's going to try and get some engineers up. He doesn't have any, well, there are some build orders up now. We can see they're just going down, and those engineers are all the way back in base. So we can see the time penalty that Mad Damage is incurring from not having any engineers on site, not having a factory up in that top corner, because it's going to take him a couple of minutes to get those engineers on site and get the mixes rebuilt. We've got this engineer is now finishing off the construction of this expansion. He's going to secure that extra mass, and at the moment there's not a threat from anything in Mad Damage's bottom right corner, so those mixes are able to produce unimpeded. And, well, Phelim doesn't really need to invest a lot in defense for it right now, but he's throwing a lot of units down there just in case. He probably doesn't have a lot of scouting going on and a lot of radar coverage, so he doesn't know if there's going to be anything coming. So he's going to make sure with this point defense and this group of Mantis, he's able to hold on to that expansion. We do have a nice push here from Maya Damage, and that's actually going to attack end on onto Phelim's forces. So that means the entire assault from Maya Damage is attacking only a few Mantis from Phelim at a time, and is able to easily rip through even a larger force. So we've got a little bit of movement around to try and negate that from Phelim, and he's able to even it out. But Maya Damage did get a little bit of extra damage in by attacking the end of the formation. Mad Damage has got a decent amount of units moving up to secure this. Phelim did send an engineer out. The engineer was going to try and reclaim and take this expansion, but he's going to be denied. And we've got a decent fight in the centre. So the ACUs are both in close proximity, and the units are fighting it out. Now it's pretty even there. Both of them ending up with just 1 or 2 units after that initial engagement. Phelim does look to be a little bit quicker with getting reinforcements in. He's got an entire army moving across from the right, and that's going to be able to challenge the production straight out of Mad Damage's queue. So we'll have to see what Mad Damage does with this. He's got his ACU up here. He's supported by a little army, not that great, so we'll see what's going to happen. He's actually moving back down into range. He's going to have to be a little bit careful here because he doesn't have a lot of support. So, actually he's sending those Mantis away from his ACU. So his ACU is now up against this entire army of 20 or so T1 units, which is actually quite dangerous, especially given that the Cybran ACU has only got 10k health to start with. So it's, well, people call it a paper ACU. It's a decent amount less than something like the UEF ACU starting at 12k. So you have to be a little bit careful, and he's actually been surrounded. Now, if Phelim can get in there and mess up the pathfinding, he can keep that ACU within range and keep pummeling it. Now, Mad Damage has managed to escape. Phelim is going to pull back now because Mad Damage has brought his reinforcements in. Now, ironically, what happened to Mad Damage is now happening to Phelim. He's lost the army that was with his ACU, and the ACU is now surrounded by enemy forces. Mad Damage was quite slow in bringing in the reinforcements. It looks like Phelim is going to be a little bit faster, and these units here are going to be able to converge on the ACU and give him a little bit of support. Mad Damage took quite a beating. He's down to 3,300, and Phelim is sitting on, well, 7,100. So he's not doing too badly, but they're going to have to be a little bit careful and make sure they don't get the ACUs caught out alone. Now, we saw in one of the earlier games where Stups got really done over in his match, where he went out alone, he got caught, and we just got to make sure this doesn't happen here. There'll be a little bit of a sad conclusion to the great finale that we're watching. Now, we're still sitting on 7,700 HP for Phelim and 3,900 for Mad Damage. So Mad Damage really does need to be careful, especially now that Phelim's got T2 on the field. So he's got Rhinos out, he's going to have a T2 HQ, there it is there, and that's got, well, 3 engineers assisting. So there's a little bit of assistance on that, so he's going to be pumping out the Rhinos as quickly as he can, and, well, the Ecos are actually neck and neck. And let's look for a T2 response. So there we go, there is a T2 response from Mad Damage. He's getting his T2 online. Well, he's got it online and he's pumping Rhinos out. He's actually got a lot more assistance. So he's got, well, looks like about a dozen engineers helping build those Rhinos. So he's trying to get enough Rhinos out to the front to make a difference. Now, Phelim has got to be careful here because he's left his units behind a little bit. They've got to be really careful with that micro. So now Phelim is actually taking some fire, but he's able to bring those Rhinos up and pull his ACU back, and he's not actually going to get caught. So the big issue is going to be if either player can get their units up around the opponent's ACU and really tangle them up, because the pathfinding gets really messed up if that happens, and the ACU will basically just sit still and he's going to get taken out. So we've got decent armies from both of them. It looks like Phelim has got slightly superior. Superior firepower in the centre there. He's also got a lot of reclaim. He's got a couple of half-built factories, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. But if he can get some engineers out and get some reclaim going on, then he's going to be able to pull up all of this mass in the centre, and that's going to give him a pretty good advantage. He's already got a 43 to 35 advantage in mass income, and that reclaim in the centre, which he holds, is going to just increase that even further. In terms of the corner expansions, we're really not seeing a lot of movements. Mad Damage still hasn't tried to attack this expansion on the right, and, well, Phelim is doing a little bit of damage. He sent an artillery in. So, of course, artilleries do outrange T1 PD. We can see a ping going down there from the trainer saying, hey, you need to deal with this, because if you don't, that artillery is going to be able to take out that PD, take out the radar and all the mixers, and not lose any HP. So let's see what happens here. We've got a couple of Mantis moving in now. Tanks can micro around the non-tracking artillery fire, so it only takes a couple of tanks to be able to get in there and really take out the artillery they're assaulting. So if you've got your PD and you've got some tanks to assist that and stop artillery from taking it out, then that's going to be a reasonably secure position. PD on its own is not going to secure a position. We've got a nice assault here from Phelim now. He's moving all of his forces in. There is a Rhino up the front for Phelim. No, for Mad Damage. But being all out on its own, it's going to die pretty quickly against this line of Rhinos that Phelim has got. So we've got a bunch of interceptors in here. So that's going to be a little bit of air denial against Mad Damage, but also that's going to be providing a little bit of vision, because the ACUs are stealth. So they're actually going to provide quite a pain in the bum for the other player if they don't have vision on the ACU, because the stealth, of course, at the T1 level is really hard to detect, and they can sit there out of vision range of the T1 and T2 armies using their overcharge and doing a lot of damage. In terms of power, we've got a lot more power production for Mad Damage. So he is behind in the mass game, but he's got a lot more power, and that's going to be to power the overcharge cannon on his ACU. So the 945 income compared to Phelim's 580 is going to mean that Mad Damage can overcharge a lot more frequently, and especially with that extended range on the gun ACU, he's going to be able to do a lot of damage. Being able to pump out and overcharge in at twice the rate as Phelim is actually going to be a really big difference when these two come head to head. Mad Damage has actually lost all of the forces there. Phelim is pulling back a little bit. He might be waiting for reinforcements. He's pulling his ACU back and giving Mad Damage a little bit of a chance to rebuild his forces. So we've now got a couple of rhinos in the mix, the ACU, and that's going to be able to take out the one rhino that Phelim had left there. Where do you think Phelim is going? Well, let's wait and see what is going to do with his ACU. So he's just moving him back. So it looks like he's probably going to move back and try and get a little bit of breathing space, perhaps for an upgrade, and let's see what he does with that. Up in the top left corner though, he has been successful at taking out this expansion. So that's another 8 mass per tick that Mad Damage has been denied now. So if we look at the mass income, 27 to 47, wow, 25 now. So that's a pretty substantial lead to Phelim. So he's actually going to be able to pump out a lot more units and do a lot more damage in the center here. And he's starting to get a bit of a critical advantage over Mad Damage. We can see the amount of land force here for Phelim compared to the amount of land force for Mad Damage. Mad Damage is going to have to be really careful. Phelim is now going for an upgrade. We'll see what he's going to put on his ACU, but he's gonna, well, he probably doesn't need much of an upgrade at all on his ACU. Maybe that's just to restore a little bit of HP. Well, he's already got over 10k health. In fact, both of them have, because the repair rate on the Cybran ACU is actually pretty good. So those guys are pretty much up to full health. Unfortunately for Mad Damage, he's just wandered within range of a large pack of rhinos. So there's quite a good amount there. They're actually going to be faster than the ACU, and we can see a move order for all those units around the ACU. So what that's going to do, that's going to take out that pathfinding, and you can see right now the ACU is practically standing still. He's trying to overcharge the units at his feet so that he can move, but the damage has already been done. He's already down to almost 0 HP, and that is the end of the game. So Phelim was able to catch Mad Damage's ACU out. He had done enough damage to the economy to outproduce in units. He wrapped up Mad Damage's ACU, and with Phelim's ACU in the mix and a stack of rhinos, he was able to really quickly rip the HP off that ACU and end the game. So we can see the map control. Phelim was doing a pretty good game there, and that's pretty well done all around. Congratulations to both players for getting through to the final. Well done. Congratulations to Phelim for taking out the victory, and that's going to end the coverage for this. Thank you very much for watching. I still haven't decided on an exit phrase that I want to use for this, so I'm just going to say thanks for watching, but also subscribe if you like this video. That lets me know that you want more, and also hit the like button. That lets me know that you guys like what I'm doing and that I should do more. So if you want me to keep doing this, give me some feedback. Feel free to jump onto the FAF client and give me some feedback in chat, or jump onto the forums, give me some feedback there. Really appreciate everything you guys say. I've had a bit of feedback already. It's been really helpful. Thank you so much to the guys that are giving me that. And again, congratulations to Phelim, and I will see you guys in the next Quantum Gateway.